I'm recording the meeting.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, Giulia. Hi, Giulia.
Hi, Giulia.
Hello.
Hello.
Melanie.
Melanie.
Yes.
Nicolas.
I suppose.
Good morning.
Morning.
Bonjour Antonella,
Morning.
bonjour,
Bonjour.
Hello.
Hello. Bernard, maybe we have never met before.
No, we have never been. No, that's the first time today.
Okay, Felix is not here.
Who? Oh,
Bernard.
Yeah.
Felix won't be here, I guess.
not Felix, Matteo.
Oh, no,
don't know.
sorry. Are you from France or the other?
Yes, I'm from France.
Ah, France, okay, sorry. I thought you were from Austria. Sorry.
Welcome.
Sorry.
Sorry.
So Matteo will be with us today. I don't remember if we meet before today. If you from France was in the other meetings, or are you new?
It's the first time.
It's the first
Yes.
time. Okay.
Yes. The first time.
Okay.
We are waiting for Greece. I don't know. What about Julia? What about Ali? Is he coming today?
Yes, he is supposed to join us. Maybe I will just send him the link again to remind him.
Okay, thank you. The problem is that I've got a meeting at 12:30 with my office, and so we should do. We should be finished on time. Yes.
Yes, of course. I told him because he had a meeting that finished at 11.
Okay.
Maybe he would just show up in a few minutes, and I can.
We are waiting for Constantine from Greece, and yes, Constantine. My colleagues from the office.
And Sonia from Italy.
And Sonia, yes, from Italy.
Has just finished a lesson with the students.
Yes. This morning we are going to talk about our learning units. Yes. And also the problem will be now to align the learning units we have developed. And also we should talk about the translation of the materials, because as you know, in order to be used by our teachers and with the students, it's necessary to translate them into the languages of different partners. So it's not urgent to do that, but before the end of summer, I guess I hope that we'll have been done that. And also another thing to do, I'm just to anticipating what we are going to tell everybody in a few minutes. Good morning, Costantina.
Hi, Costantina.
Morning.
Good morning, Costantina. Nice to see you again.
Hello.
And another problem to be solved maybe is the fact that we should comment, introduce or present our learning units. Because we can't put in our intellectual output one just the grids with the learning units, but it's necessary to present in a proper way the work we have done for each of them. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Not
Yes.
very long, it's just 20 lines in presentation, no more, just in order to explain what we have developed. Because
we will
you
do
have
it today, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Who else is coming?
No one.
No one? Yes, and this morning we are going to, Sonia will present the digital learning units she has developed as a piloting learning unit. So you will have the chance to comment this piloting unit and to use it afterwards, because now we have to complete our intellectual output one with the second part, which is the transformation of intellect of the digital curriculum just competence based into a curriculum digital based, as you know.
Good morning, Felix.
Good morning, Felix.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. And
I'm showing the agenda
yes,
of this meeting.
the agenda. Yes, can you see it?
Yes.
So we can start, Massimiliano. I think that all of our friends are here. So the problem, as I told you before, is the translation of our intellectual outputs and so of our competence-based curriculum in the partners' languages. Translation should be done by the end of the summer, because we should be ready to use it in the learning activity and in the piloting phase in time for the next school year. And another thing to do, as I told you before, is to write a presentation of our digital, of our learning units, because we can't just put a grid in our intellectual output one, but we should present and explain what we did and how we developed them. And yes.
I'll put on as usual on ClickUp these tasks.
Yes.
About the presentation of each learning unit and about the translation. Every learning unit must be translated in each national language by the end of the summer. And now I put on the coordination site, just a second. On the coordination site, I put the address on the email I sent. All the learning units, digit 0, that you sent. There are the one from Sweden, from Greece, from Austria, and from Italy. We are still lacking missing the one from France. So if it's possible, I don't know what is your situation now. If you are working on this learning unit or.
It is done, Massimiliano. Hello, I am Nicola. I am now the coordinator for France. I took the place of my colleague Pierre, and I have sent you the documents. Melanie has worked with Bernard on it these last few days, and I've sent it on your email at 10 o'clock this morning. So it's
okay,
done.
Good.
Okay, perfect. And we are, if it's possible, we can. You can send us even the agreement. We are missing it too.
Sorry, what did you miss from Sweden?
No, from France.
Women from France. Yes,
okay,
I
sorry.
know.
Women from France.
Yes, I know Pierre gave it to the rector of the academy, so I will ask him if it has been done, and I send it to you. Okay, no problem, and I come back towards you Monday.
Thank you very much. Okay, so as from the agenda, we planned that each partner will present his learning unit, how it was developed, and what is inside it. Who want to start this presentation? Julia from Sweden. Where is Julia? Julia.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I can start. So I have nothing to share on the screen.
Can you share the learning units if you don't mind? Sweden. Yeah.
Just a second. Okay.
Okay, so I guess I will be just kind of brief and explain the process behind developing this learning unit. As you know, we have the theme living in a globalized world, and I have tried to continuously throughout the learning unit link to the reference competences in the curriculum canvas, which are the competence number 6 and 4. Let me just find them. Recognize the value and potential of artistic and environmental assets and establish links between local and international cultural traditions, both in an intercultural perspective and for the purpose of study and work mobility. So when developing this, I thought it would be a good way to for the students to understand the concept of living in a globalized world, for them to be understand that they are individuals as a part of a larger context, which is the whole outside world, as a way for them to establish links between their local context and individual personal context, and links between the international cultural perspectives. So therefore, if we look at the
product.
Yeah, the product. It became relevant to use their immediate surroundings, was my approach at least, for them to, in a very direct way, create associations with the outside world and let them explore similarities and differences between their own contexts and everyone else's context, which they are part of. So the product I thought would be suitable to be a guide, because I didn't feel like a brochure or something else was suitable. And if we scroll down to the learning units,
Good morning.
Good
morning.
Good morning. The learning outcomes. The first one is for them to identify materiality as connections within international trade, production, industry, policies, or environment, with special attention to their immediate surroundings and how these connections involve the student as a node within material networks. So that is just for them to understand the concept of living in a globalized world. And the second learning outcome would be to present awareness of narratives regarding materials and their historicity, meaning that they can examine the roots and origin of materials and places, and see where they have been in the world and how they have come to our national context and their local context. And this awareness could be presented through oral presentation. In the curriculum canvas, we stated that it would be a good idea for this learning unit to connect to debates or argumentative texts. So it could, like when they have examined their surroundings and materials within places, they would be asked to do it, to produce critical or produce texts that are critical, examine the root and origin of things, as I said, and the kind of the story that materials can tell, and connect that to cultural development, trade, intellectual and language exchange, production, because even the smallest materials have been produced in places that can be on the other side of the world by a certain people, and that they will examine those aspects of materials to increase their understanding of globalization, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm being clear, but yeah, maybe if you have any specific questions that may be easier.
Okay.
Let's move on to the second one, maybe.
Okay.
Afterwards.
Constantina, do you want?
Yes. Sure.
Can you present your screen?
Unfortunately, I can't from here because
Okay.
I'm I can't do it today.
Okay.
Oh, thank you so much. So, okay, so our I guess this would be our first chapter, or maybe not, I don't know. So I focused on looking on the subject, looking for a job, and we kind of thought that it would be a good idea if we imagined the student as a job candidate. It's a very topical subject and very useful for everybody, especially at this age. So we felt that we could picture the students as job candidates who, at the end of by the end of the unit, let's say, they will be able to write a good CV and a motivational letter. And both these two activities, both these two products, will be done in response to something very concrete, like a job advertisement, not just for the sake of it. So I think that it would be a good idea if we started to, if the teacher would plan the learning unit using those steps. The outcomes I have there. So the first thing the students need to know is that they should be able to identify the steps for a successful job search. So it could include, for example, techniques or I don't know, keywords that apply to them. Then perhaps a self-evaluation activity that would help them, let's say, identify the career that suits them. Then the student should be able to recognize how important it is to construct a clear CV, the importance of a CV, and the importance of a motivational letter, and the importance of both of them being clear of grammatical mistakes, grammatical and spelling mistakes, and the importance of including information that would make them stand out. So these would be the learning outcomes. So I think what we should be focusing on is the professional texts. And with regards to lifelong learning, the competences that we are focusing on are learning to learn, because the student will need to be able to self-evaluate and see strengths and weaknesses to include in the motivation letter. So learning to learn made sense to include literacy, of course, and communication competencies, even if we're mainly focusing on the written communication. But it could also include oral communication. So the skills that we identified are there with regards to mother tongue. Identify different points of view in conversation with regards to work. Writing coherent, sufficient, interesting texts, professional texts, that is, and always in response to prompts. As far as English is concerned, again, coherent, cohesive texts, professional text, again in response to prompts. Yes, the knowledge here with regards to L1 has to do with being able to, read sectorial texts and vocabulary that has to do with the particular profession that the student is interested in. With regards to L2, I had a question here. I put past simple, past continuous, but I wasn't sure if this would be the first learning unit to appear in the curriculum, because if it's going to be the first one, perhaps it makes sense to start with the present continuous tense. This is a question mark for me there.
Okay, as it is a B, a B2, B1, I would avoid present continuous, because maybe it's now relating to the first year, to the inferior level, but
Excellent.
it's a choice. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Yes, and also I think past simple and past continuous make perfect sense here, because if you're going to write a motivational letter, so something that describes your strengths and your accomplishments, you will need to practice past simple. So I did this.
That's why I put it. Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so we're keeping it that way. Yeah. Excellent.
I think that the present tenses could be also taken into consideration, Antonella, as a review, not as learning. Okay, because if we're talking about a professional interview, actually the guy, I mean the candidate, has to talk in the present tense. So if you're putting also an oral, okay.
Yes, but maybe
it depends on the product.
The teacher is free to do what he or she wants in the class, but we can't be exhaustive in all the things, Maybe if you want to add a review, but anyway.
So if we sorry. No, sorry. Here
you go. No, I was just talking. I was just thinking of an eventual interview, job interview. Okay, so it's related with your unit probably, but I didn't see the product, so probably you didn't take it into consideration.
It's a CV and a motivational letter, but I think
it's written.
What I could do is, because at the beginning of our session today, Antonella, you mentioned that we need to prepare 20 lines. So I could add it there and say, for example, that this is a suggestion, but if teachers feel that they should start from present simple, perhaps they should, taking into consideration the needs of their classes. Should I add it there in the presentation?
Yes, in the presentation you can explain your unit, and also to give some piece of advice for developments, further development.
Yeah, I think that would be very, very good if we added it there, because maybe perhaps somebody might say, oh, why are they starting from past? But if I added something like that there and say that we thought that at this level past makes sense, however each teacher could think of revising present tense, that would be nice. Great. Can you please scroll down, Massimiliano? Thank you. The application phases that I'm recommending here is perhaps they could start from a self-evaluation activity, like a checklist or something. We could teach vocabulary there. It could be a vocabulary exercise, and then a job hunting process, which I thought might be useful, especially if we're adding technology there. CVs, motivational letters, and then a presentation. Each student could present something in front of the others, and the other students could assess each other. So it's going to be a peer assessment process. The methodology, lots of, apart from the theoretical, the grammar and everything, lots of group work, pair work, collaborative writing, role plays, interviews, or all those things. Of course, presentations and self-assessments. And I'm visualizing it to take place in the first part of the school year. And yes, the mentoring activities could focus on how to analyze, prioritize, self-reflect, take the initiative, and of course, learn by doing. In other words, learn how to apply by applying for a job. And I think that's it. I hope it made sense.
Thank you, Constantina.
Thank you.
Felix,
yes.
Can you present your screen?
It would be great if you can do it, because I have 2 screens and 2 computers, and it's also technical.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So this learning unit, I don't know. It was the second in the structure. I don't know. Can't remember. Is about the European Union. So the title is "The United in Diversity." I took the motto from the European Union, Europe and European cooperation. And the aim is to get to know the variety of the European Union through country profiles and intercultural dialogue. So the idea is here also to include, yes, basic knowledge about intercultural dialogue, get to know a little bit also the member states of the European Union. It has, yes, also mixed activities and internal external resources. Yes, the situation, the problem here is to get the students to know the advantages of of Europe in general and the EU, especially addressed to topics that could be interesting for young people. Also, as one of the aim will be getting to know the functionality of the EU, of course, on a level adapted to their previous knowledge. This could be various, for example, I don't know. Then creating various texts using information and data from different sources to create country profiles about the member states. Students can here then learn and improve intercultural skills, also through communication, and about talking about the differences, about the countries, about culture in general. What should be the result of this learning unit? Should be a brochure info guide about an EU member state. I have proposed here that the students can choose the country that they want to work on. And this will include basic information, historical facts, intercultural aspects, and if possible, this would be also nice, a trip itinerary to this country. So to prepare a little, yes, travel, also travel itinerary to this country. What will be the learning outcomes? Of course, the focus will be put on analyze various texts, choose relevant information, create also own texts. The second one will be the intercultural knowledge and how to use this in various situations, linking them also with language, as language is part of culture. It would be that easy in that way. And understand the advantages of the EU and the basic principle of the European cooperation, again, depending on the level of their knowledge. There is possible to make also to go more in detail or to remain also to remain on the basic facts about the EU and the functionality of the EU. And last but not least, the create of a travel itinerary based on, again, text, data, and information. All this will be put together in this info guide about an EU member state. This is like the final output of this project, organized and project plan of the learning unit. The skills, I don't know if I'll go much into detail about the profile skills. It will be a lot about research, and also here included, based on the proposal from Antonella, that it's possible also to, especially with traveling, the argument of traveling, also text from the literature tradition of various types and forms. It's possible also to include this in the texts to create a sub-chapter, something like this, that could be where it's possible to use also this. Yes, and then it's possible also, and so the focus here is on research in the first step, and then on producing texts and to understand, of course, on the next slide, on the next page, the political system of the EU. It's like creating, starting in the past, going up to our daily life and the advantages of the EU in our daily life. Yeah, the key competences will be multilingual competence, cultural awareness and expression competence, and citizenship competence regarding especially the better knowledge of the EU institutions and how they work. Skills, again, writing essays, write articles, improve the reading skills, and improving also the intercultural dialogue to various forms, basic concepts. I'm sure all of you will know the iceberg model, stereotypes, etc. So there will be a lot of possibilities for the teachers or trainers to go here in detail. And regarding the language, I was also putting the proposal from Antonella, and so the aim will be again to produce texts, and so I will focus here maybe on the grammar, the continuous tenses, and comparatives and superlatives. Yes, and on the next slide, the output again, essays, article, as already said, and in the L1 language and in English, the characteristics of different texts, writing articles, summing up the main information, creating this the final output, the brochure. And maybe interesting is the last point, how this will be organized in the first steps, in the first stage. The students will have to do research, and there will be also several lessons organized towards the principles and the functionality of the EU, intercultural dialogue, traveling in history. Here it is possible then to include literature, and tools and methods to analyze and sum up the key figures and the information from text and data. And in the second stage, this would be then dedicated to the portfolio, this brochure that each student has to develop. They can choose the country, as already said, and then do research about this. I think in this format, using books, using encyclopedia, and the digital part, it would be easier with using also tools and the internet. So, and the last stage will be that the creation and the finalization of this portfolio about countries, and in the end there would be also the option to put it all together to one wall of European countries and their different profiles. Yeah, the methodology of, again, frontal learning put together also with group work, and if possible also input sessions from experts. This, to sum it up, I will skip the last part. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions? Sonia?
Max, Franz? It's Fran's turn now to present. If you are okay, Nicolas.
Yeah, sure.
Or yeah.
I will present it.
Thank you, Melanie.
I don't know how to show you the file.
On the yes, right, bottom right.
Yeah.
Presenta ora on the right.
Yeah.
The entire screen, Melanie. I suggest you.
I have something.
Click on present now, then choose entire screen and share.
Rispondi un po'.
Yeah, but I cannot share.
Non lo so.
It's not on Drive. I will try this. I'm sorry.
Good morning, Ali.
I will try this.
On the right, down, present now.
Yeah.
Then you can see a little screen.
Yes.
You choose, when you click on present now, your screen, your entire screen.
I don't have my screen. Yeah, sure. Sorry. Present now. Yeah, sure. Right.
Then click on the screen and click on the button share now.
Can you see it now?
Not yet.
Can you see it?
No.
No. Why not? Oh, share. Sure.
Present now, entire screen. The first item.
Yeah. And
then click on the screen on the
yeah.
And then on the first button on the right.
And now?
Okay, perfect. Good job.
Okay. So we had to work on the safety and security rules at work and at school. And so we decided that to present the safety and security rules, we would organize like a kind of week dedicated to security and safety issues. And so the product that the students would have to do would be to present a poster presenting safety and security rules at school and at work. At schools, meaning in the workshops or production areas. So the learning outcomes, the students will have to understand, of course, the safety rules and present oral instructions related to safety with the right flow and pronunciation. The targeted school skills would be to select relevant information in videos, pictures, and texts. They would have to write instructions and explain them orally with the right pronunciation, sure. The skills would have to be, they would have to know the modals, the imperative form, the preventive equipment vocabulary, sure, and the verbs related to safety at school. For the L1, we thought that it would be interesting for them. They would have to know the structure of written text, the different forms and functions of writing, and they would have to improve their oral skills. And that's about the same in the foreign language, in English then. the different application phases, they would be introduced to the unit with non-speaking videos, introducing safety and security rules at school and at work, and they would have to analyze the different instructions. And then they would be introduced to warning signs to understand their meaning. We will then present them the video with the rules, but speaking videos, and they would have to select the important information, and then they would have to describe the signs with the specific vocabulary. And so our methodology would be guided exercises, of course, pair work. I forgot to write it, but pair works, laboratory activities. We thought it would be relevant to do it in the first part of the school year. And the teachers will help learners to improve their citizenship skills, like communication, collaboration, and solving problems. And they would have to develop active learning. That's about it for our presentation. I hope it's clear for everybody.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Thank you for your wonderful learning units. As I told you before, now it's necessary for you to add the presentation of the work you've done and to talk about, to think about the translation of the learning units in order to be ready for teachers in the piloting phase. I don't know if necessary to align learning units in order to have just a homogeneous product, but I think that they are quite homogeneous just at the moment. Imagine when you revise the learning units, you should imagine the teachers who are going to use them in the class. So if you, for example, think that you have written something of too much theoretical, no, maybe try to change it into a more practical work, because it's necessary to write in a clear way in order to be understood by the teachers who are going to use your learning units in class in front of students. Now, Sonia, I pass the ball to you for your digital presentation.
Yes, of course. So I will be presenting, we try to, create a model of a digital-based competence LU, learning unit. While I'll be commenting on it, probably we'll, take out other advices, okay, to change the ones that we have already done, and also to do it, in a better way. I need all the suggestions of you, obviously. Okay, so I'll try to present my screen. Sorry, but it'll take a little bit of time because I want to divide the screen into parts, because I would like to present both things. Okay, so we got this learning unit. Just a second. I'll make it. I will. So what I want is this one, digital based, and wow, I got them both. Okay. I need some help from Massimiliano. Massimiliano, posso presentare le due cose dividendo lo schermo?
Sì, fai, yes.
I'm sorry for the Italian part.
Present entire screen and put.
Wait a minute, I've got.
On the left one and the right.
Yeah, I've got them both here on my screen. But the problem is now, how can I get on to Meet again? Should I open another Google?
No, choose the first one, present, and then l'intero schermo, entire screen.
Allora, Okay, I'll go back
Present
to
now, the first item, entire screen, your screen.
Okay,
Il tuo
so
schermo
let me,
intero.
ok, parto da Meet, giusto Massimiliano?
Sì.
Da Meet. E adesso cosa devo fare?
Presenta, niente, fai presente il tuo schermo intero.
Ok, e però dopo non mi viene?
Vieni, vieni.
Ok, allora, you follow me now, ok?
Devi fare piccoli i tuoi due file nello schermo
L'ho
tuo, capito?
fatto, aspetta, vedi, voi adesso vedete quello che vedo io, no? You see what I'm
piccolo.
showing, okay? No, what I want to do is this. Is that right, Massimiliano?
Ok, trascina la linguetta sopra, trascina learning unit sopra,
Qua.
prendila, sopra, sopra.
Sopra dove?
Sopra, dove
qua.
c'è il learning unit? Sopra.
Here.
Sopra, lì,
Here.
la linguetta giusta. Prendila e
This
trascinala
one.
fuori.
Ok. Fuori
Trascinala fuori.
a destra o a sinistra?
A
Come?
sinistra. A sinistra. Trascina.
Così.
Trascina. Vai, trascina
Ancora? Ok, that's one. Okay, do you see the other one? Now, what should I do with the other one?
Ok.
Is this the right one? Yeah. Oh, I made it. Oh, happy. Thanks to Massimiliano.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
So I wanted to present them both so we can make a comparison, okay? And it will be surely clearer, okay? So this is, we got the competence based on the right and we got the digital one. Just let me put it in the right center. You should be seeing it all now. Okay, so what we did is we left the first box right the same. EQF level 3, 4, same knowledge, same skills, say competence 1 and 2. Okay, let's scroll down. Let's go to the competences for lifelong learning. Well, what I did here is I added the digital competence here, okay? The rest is exactly the same, okay? So let's go down again. Let's scroll down a little bit more. Denomination. So we're talking about denomination is the same. Obviously, it's exactly the same. So let's go down again a little bit more. Situation is exactly the same. And let's come to the output. Now, I need some suggestions too from you, what you think. Okay, what we did here is we changed the product because being this one based on digital competences, obviously the product should be digital. So on this part here, you can see the presentations, video and data analysis, identifying professional figures most requested by companies and by the production system of our territory. It's exactly the same talking about the second part of what I wrote, but the first part is different. Now, not using digital tools, obviously this one, talking about the competence-based, will be only a written and an oral report. There is a question I would ask you, Antonella. It's a question that I was asking to myself this morning, actually. What if we, in the competence-based one, use, however, a word processing program or software only? What do you all think? I mean, thinking of the students writing posters, okay, I think it will take a lot of time. What do you think? Antonella, are you there? Or Ali or Constantina or Felix, are you there?
Yeah.
What do you think about this? So this is a question I wanted to ask you all. So I'll go on with my presentation and then we'll go back to the questions, okay? So going on with the learning units, with the learning outcomes, I left the same things because the learning outcomes have to be the same. Okay, don't mind the red part because it's a part that actually I'm a little bit doubtful on because I don't know if I want to actually make a comparison on a national or international level, but that's my problem. So no worries about that. Let's go to the competences. Well, the competences are the same. So competence number 2, because it talks about obviously the lexical part, the expressive part. So it's exactly the same. I left it as it was. So the knowledge is the same for L1 and L2. Let's scroll down. The fifth competence, general competence, is exactly the same. What I did now, so you can see that it's the same. Scrolling down, competence 6, I left it, but I'm a little doubtful on this one too. That's why it's in red. So scrolling down again, here I added the competence number 7, because we're talking about digital things. So we won't find it here. Okay, we won't find it here in the competence space. And I added this part here, identifying and using modern forms of visual and multimedia communication, and also with reference to expressive strategies and technical tools for online communication. So the skills, this is specifically on digital skills. So the skills will be finding information, documents in L1 and or in English on the web by evaluating the reliability of the source, designing and creating simple multimedia texts in L1 in English on the subject of the LU, of the learning unit. Using the digital technologies for the presentation of the project in L1 and in English, choosing the most suitable multimedia form for communication in L1 and English, in the professional context of reference in relation to the interlocutors and purposes. This is the general, talking about general L1 and English. And let's go down here, knowledge. As to knowledge, I just wrote sources of information and documentation, social networks and new media as a communicative phenomenon, communicative characteristic of a multimedia text, techniques, vocabulary, tools for professional communication. This is the only competence I added, okay? This is an extra competence for the digital one, digital competence-based. The recipients are the same, obviously. Let's go down. Application phases are the same. So stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. Methodology. Let's go down here. Stage 1, methodology. Well, in the competence space, I just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's exactly the same until here, in-depth activities. We added, for the technological one, brainstorming, collaborative learning, e-learning, and blended e-learning. The time lapse is the same. Internal and external human resources are the same for this one. Monitoring plan and tools is exactly, should be the same. Let's see. No, actually, this is the part we changed. Okay, monitoring plan and tools. Monitoring plan and tools, we divided it. Okay, so we put it all together. So this is the part we did in the competence one. It's the same. Okay, until here, situations, activity, informal situation. And here, actually, we added all the tools we would like to use in this LU. So the following, we won't find it here in the competence space. The following tools will be used. This is what we chose. Internet and search engines. Google Suite for education to enhance online collaborations. And precisely, we're talking about virtual classroom, shared drive, shared documents, shared presentations, shared sheets and charts, forms for desks and surveys, Jamboard for online shared whiteboards, maps to create shared representations of the territory, sites to collaboratively create websites.
Sonia,
yeah,
just a word about Google Suite for Education.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are equivalent tools that do the same of
function.
the Google Suite, the same functions of Google Suites one. So maybe we can change this this point, making it more generally.
Oh, what do you mean? Do you want me to delete Google Suite?
Yes, not Google Suite, but virtual classrooms, for example.
May I add something, Massimiliano? Do you remember that we have a digital toolbox? So we have a list of useful tools, and more there are, because each country, each partner choose
yes,
his own
we use
tool.
the toolbox to create this list. But after we created it, I thought that maybe we cannot cite Google exactly, but I think it's better to make it more generally. So we can just say virtual classroom, and then each one can use its own classroom.
The function and not the name, Massimiliano.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so we will modify it, Massimiliano. Do you want me to change? Not now, obviously, but we will change it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but this is only a model. Every partner.
Sonia, sorry. Since I must leave in a few minutes because I have a lesson, I say goodbye now to all. So I leave the meet online. I mute and shut down the camera, but I must do a lesson now. So goodbye.
Thank you, Massimiliano. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ali, do you want to talk now, or do you want me to say something about just in a general way about the digital learning units?
You asking me?
Yes, because you raised your hand. That's why.
Yeah. Just one reflection. I prepared myself yesterday for this meeting based on what Julia has produced and what now Sonia presented. One thing which I reflect over is that if we think about the following tools will be used, depends, since we said that the learning process will be in a formal, non-formal, informal environment for the pupils. Yeah. Then what will be the key competence which we want to accept the digital competence? What other competence is there that we want to promote or to make the students to work on? We had a project. It was not only language, but there were several subjects, and it was based on problem-based learning. And I think it's very important to inform the students about all the possibilities of the tools that are available, but at the same time, let the theme and the discussion between the student which will decide which tools they will use, because then they have to think themselves, they have to adapt the presentation to the tools. So I think that will enhance learn to learn competence also. So learn to learn competence and digital competence goes together. So I think that's very important. So last night I went through all the material we produced, and I wrote a process for that. Actually, it doesn't need only to be for the language training. It can be for all the subjects. But the methodology, which methodology should be used, what processes for the teacher and what processes for the pupil. So how they go hand in hand together. So we promote not only digital competencies, but also learn to learn. So the student will take more self-responsibility for learning than just to get instruction from the teacher.
Yes, Ali, I agree with you. And in fact, in our intellectual output too, as we are more concentrated on the process from the planning to the review phase, we suggest this kind of process, focusing on students and focusing on teachers. I mean, we have the toolbox, so the students will have the chance to choose the tools they want to use. They want to use, and so the teachers will give them this chance. It's a good idea.
Antonella,
Yes.
May, with all respect, I don't mean to be. What I mean is, it should be inside the learning unit's description, the methodology which the teacher is going to use. What I mean is that the method of the teaching of the unit should be based on problem-based learning if we want to promote the students to take responsibility for their own learning. If we include that, then in IO2, then you will find the assessment criteria for the learning units. So it's easier for the teacher to find what the criteria they are using to assess the learning outcomes, the real learning outcomes. That's what
So in each unit, we should add this methodology for
it's
this
very
reason.
simple, actually. It's
Yes.
very, very simple. If there is no time now, I can give it to
Yes,
Julia.
Ali, but there is if you want to include a problem-based methodology, you should start from the real beginning. That's I mean, you can't use if you want to use a PBL, you should start also with a kind of participating pathway with the students. So the students should choose what kind of learning outcomes they want to develop. So it's a kind of radical modification of our job, but it's possible to do it.
No, I don't mean to change what you have produced now. Not at all. What I mean, when it comes to the implementation of the learning units, depends which method, which approach we will use. This is what I mean. It's not that you should now start to change everything. This is not because the learning outcome should be included in the curriculum. So you cannot just let the student to choose which learning outcomes they want to select. But the way to the learning outcome, that is what I mean. But
okay.
Of course, the learning outcomes should be according to the curriculum.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What I want to add to what Sonia said is that when you are transforming your learning units into digital learning units, you should imagine to start doing your job in front of the students using only digital tools. So in each step of your existing learning unit, you should add digital tools. How to choose digital tools? You know that we have a toolbox, so it's that we composed all together. So it's not so difficult to do it. Having a piloting learning unit. Sonia.
Of course, Antonella, okay, this is just an example, obviously, that what we wrote, so we can actually change it completely if we want to. It has to be clear. And Ali actually already gave us a suggestion. So they won't be, it's true. I think he is right. So we won't be actually choosing the tools, Antonella.
Yes.
So what we need, the students are going to choose it now. We are changing completely the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
What we need now is Ali giving us some material. You know, you've got some, have you, Ali?
I tried to, based on what we did in the other project. As I said, in that project, there were not only language, it was several subjects. It was the approach of the teacher.
Okay.
But I tried to focus it on language training. So if you want, I can share it with you.
Antonella, what do you think? Have we got time to look at it, or do you want us to?
Or
maybe...
I can send it, or
yeah.
Julia can send it to you, and you will
and
look
we
at
can,
it,
you
and
know,
then we can
just
discuss.
think it over, read it, and you know, and
yes.
then maybe we'll come to a conclusion.
What?
Okay.
Okay, I don't know if our colleagues have some questions about the new piloting learning unit. If everything is clear or not, if you want to reflect on it.
Well, actually, I didn't do anything so big. Actually, we just chose the tools together, me, Massimiliano, and our team, and we just put it down there. But actually, at the beginning, we wanted to divide the tools in each phase, okay? But we didn't. We just left it like that because we wanted to discuss it with you. But Ali actually came out, okay, with another proposal, which is, I think it's a good proposal.
Yeah, maybe we have another problem to solve, because in order to make comparable the two learning units, competence-based and digital, we couldn't modify our learning outcomes, because otherwise during our intellectual output 3, so the comparative use from the students, it would be difficult to evaluate them. So we are not going to change our objects, our learning outcomes, because otherwise we can't evaluate the two learning units in the same way. But what we could do is to evaluate in a separate way, through the DigiComp frameworks, the digital competences that the students have used and developed using these learning units. I don't know if you agree. As an option, we could give this option to the teachers to evaluate also digital competencies, because you know that the focus of our projects is only to see if using the digital mediators we have a kind of empowerment of learning 1 and learning 2. So the focus of our project is not the evaluation of digital competencies. That's why I think that we can offer the chance to evaluate digital competencies using the digital framework, DigiComp frameworks. What do you think? Would it be possible or not? In the as we are talking about the development of the projects, Ali, I would like to show you the possible structure we imagined for the development of IO2. Do you agree if I show you just for 1 minute? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, I have to find it. Where is it? Yes. Okay. I started to collect some material that I put in the drive. I started writing, and I I think that it could be divided into the 4 different phases of the ICAVET cycle, as we decided. So, introduction. Okay, this learning, this intellectual output is a toolbox. So we have to collect some grids, useful material, guides, which teachers will be able to use during the school year or during their courses. So I try to put in the planning phase, for example, a grid about learning styles, a dialogue with the students, how to describe learning outcomes, the different taxonomies, then a learning outcome definition, how to describe a learning outcome, and how to set up a learning outcome. Okay, I think that each of us, when we will start to develop IO2, will be able to put and search for other grids and other material to implement each phase of the intellectual output too. In the implementation, I put a learning units definition. I put our curriculum canvas, and I think it's useful to put our DG0 curriculum, competence-based, and our digital curriculum. And also digital framework if teachers want to evaluate, obviously, the digital competencies that students have developed, our digital toolbox, and also the training canvas. You know that we wrote our learning units, but we avoided to face the evaluation phase because we should decide how to evaluate our learning units. And so it's time to think about it, because we could use, for example, some rubric for assessments. But the question is, what are we going to evaluate? The products, just the products, or also all the process? So maybe we should decide what to do with this. And in fact, in the assessment, the first question is what we are going to assess. So we should have an evaluation plan. Think about not only about teachers' assessment, but also students' self-assessment, formative assessment, summative assessment, soft skills assessment, and also formal and non-formal assessment can be considered to be soft skills assessment, I think. But Ali suggested us that he had also some other material. Maybe we should write a chapter about how to build a rubric of assessment, also digital skills assessment. And we also should put talents and passion identification grid. And maybe in this part, we should insert, Ali, what you was talking about, the PBL assessment. And in the last part, there is the review part. We will insert here our comparative study and also ICAVET in practice, which is a useful tool developed by Folk Universitet in order to understand what are the weak parts and critical parts of our process.
Can I say something here, Antonella, with your permission? Regarding the last part, what we have been thinking about, when you develop learning units and you define what is the learning outcomes, based on the learning outcomes, you can define indicators, what you're going to measure in order to see if you have reached learning outcomes. And
in
then
the rubric for the assessment, you mean?
Yeah, for the assessment. So when you do that, let's say that this unit which we are going to develop, it's about global world and cultural awareness and what the learning outcomes will be. Let's say before you start the training, you define the learning outcomes, and those learning outcomes can be translated in some indicators, okay? Let's say that vocabulary, the student should reach, let's say, level 3, and then you define what is level 3. For example, 75% of the words we expect them to learn during this unit.
Yes, Ali, but we have EQF levels also.
Yeah, just if I may finish first. Even if you have EQF level, they can reach different levels, the students, compared to level 3, for example, or level 2, okay? But doesn't matter. You decide what level it is. That will give you the framework. Then you, as a teacher, make an assessment based on those indicators of the students. And those includes both factual knowledge of English language with vocabulary, grammar, whatever it is. You can have indicators for digital competencies. You can have indicators for learn to learn as one of the key competencies. And then based on that, you develop the questionnaire where you have these different levels. So for example, I know 70%, I know so many percent of the words I have studied during this exercise, for example. Yeah. So you get 3 spider graphs. One is the framework which was expressed in the curriculum, in the learning unit, which you predefine before you started the learning unit. One is evaluation by the student, which creates a second spider graph, and then evaluation by the teacher. If the difference, the gap between evaluation of the teacher and evaluation of the student is very high, it means that the student didn't understand. Yeah? But if they are close to each other, it means that the outcome of the learning units has been positive.
Mm-hmm.
This method of, it is called quick scan. We
Yes.
use quick scan very much in order to visualize the result. So when I sit with a student, I can show there is a big gap between the standards and your own evaluation of yourself, which means that maybe when we go to the review, based on how big the gap is, I can see how I can redo my learning units, rewrite my learning units, so I can close those gaps.
Okay.
So it will become the ECAVET cycle.
Yes.
This is how we are using quick scan for ECAVET cycle.
Yeah, it's a good idea. But this one could this method include also the others? Because if it's a toolkit, maybe we should offer teachers not only one way to evaluate or to
How do you mean?
I mean that, for example, if I want to evaluate digital competencies, I can put also Digicom framework in the tools because it's important to offer different solutions to teachers that they can choose. Don't you agree about this?
Yes, it's only a question if you're going what is reasonable in one Erasmus project, how much you can develop during one project. If you're going to develop different alternatives, and so then it will take many more. For example, creating this quick scan where we have all to agree what we want to measure. The vocabulary are different because we have different units and with different orientation. But the measuring system should be the same because we are measuring knowledge and competencies with regard to digital, with regard learning to learn, because learning to learn has to do with formal, non-formal, informal learning. This is the whole purpose of L2L. So for that, I think we can have the same tool, but the question can be different. But we can use the same tool. But I don't know. These are my ideas.
Maybe if you can send us the materials, or if you want to show the material now, if you have time, because I can stay longer. I don't know if we have times, and if the colleagues have to go at 12:30.
I think, Antonella, I can send it by email, or Julia will send it by email to everybody. You will read it, and then next time when we have a Zoom meeting, then we can discuss it more concrete. And then I can create one example, just to demonstrate how you can use quick scan during evaluation and use it during the review in order to improve the cycle.
Yes, my question is this. As I'm working on collecting materials and writing something about the I.I.S, do you agree? Do you agree with the division in 4 steps? Do you agree with the structure I presented, apart for the evaluation chapter, or not?
Definitely.
Okay.
I think this is the best way. This is the common platform for all of us in Europe.
Okay.
We follow this cycle. I totally agree. We are using it not only in vocational education, in everything.
And before we finish, I want to tell you a very important communication, because, it's a kind of proposal, because you know that the new Erasmus programs in VET has started, and the next deadline will be the 20th of May for these kind of projects. So we are thinking to develop these digital projects from a different perspective, which is a learning distance. Learning distance because we prepared a kind of survey addressed for the moment only to the students of my region, but this survey tend to demonstrate how students perceived learning distance. Starting from this survey, which could be addressed to all the students of our countries, not all, but some students of our countries, we should develop another project, a kind of a learning distance quality framework. Because we noticed that the students had many problems because some teachers use learning distance not in a very lively way, interactive way. And so what we should do is to create a kind of framework of best practice approaches, blah, 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 and so on, addressed to teachers. So imagine the same structure of this project, but with the focus on distance learning. So the first intellectual output, the desk analysis is the survey. The first intellectual output should be a collection of a toolkit of good practice, and the second intellectual output could be the framework. that's a summary of what we would like to develop. And I don't know if you could be interested in this project as well, all of you, I mean.
Antonella, you have a question?
Yes.
Yes. When you are talking about students, do you deal with students in university or primary and secondary?
Only that.
Only that,
Vocational
okay.
educational students. The question is this: that we have more chance to stay in that, and we are more free to experiment with vet students.
Okay.
That's
okay, I
why,
understand.
yes.
Because
I
my
would like.
team, my team is not involved in university. This is
No,
why.
no.
On
Only
that,
vet
it's okay.
students.
No problem. It would be a
The
pleasure.
target could be, for example, the first year of a vet course, because if it's a kind of if they start using in a proper way learning distance, they will we will have a benefit also in the following years. For example, what do you think? Would you like to try to be part of this project, or?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, for us too.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe I will ask to Bernard. Bernard, I think it's a good idea. What do you think?
Bernard is gone, I think.
No.
I know you are there. Okay, because I saw you going out. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Sorry.
Okay,
I
so
think it's
if Melanie is okay, we agree together. Okay, Melanie?
I'm starting to write the project with my friends, and if I need some, I don't know if we have time to divide up, the things to do, because maybe it's easier for us having the previous project to modify and trying to develop this one. But I call you, and we'll.
May I say something there? One thing which regarding the digital competencies in students when it comes now accelerated during COVID, but even before, especially in vet, there is a research by CEDEFOP regarding until now we have seen digital as one subject like ICT, yeah? So the students study computer or ICT communication and so on. What the latest research is that it should be a horizontal subject, not a vertical subject in the curriculum. It should be included, but one of the major problems are the knowledge of the teachers. How they can, how do you? So this is two sides: one, the student, but also the teacher. So it's very important that you think which one do you want to invest on, because if you only invest on the students and the teacher doesn't have the qualifications, then it will not work anyway. And this we have seen, for example, in upper secondary schools here in Folk University, because for many of the teachers, COVID came like a lightning, and suddenly they had to do distance education, and they were not used to distance education. So even though we have the infrastructure, all the students, they have laptops and so on and so on, still we have big problems with that. So it's very good if you focus on which part you want.
Yeah, the target are teachers, okay, and indirectly students, because students will be involved as in this project in a piloting phase. So we are going to disseminate during our C1 activity, more or less the same structure of this project. That I think it would be, because we can't address directly to students because teachers are not prepared, and so we have to work on teachers at first in order to modify.
Yes. Yes.
Another thing I want. Yes. What I asked you, if you can and if you have time, is just to, if you have some research, something on the topics, please send me an email, because it would be useful for during I'm writing the project. So please, if you find something useful, you think it's useful, please send me it.
Antonella, I will be available, but not only after 26th of April, because I have 26th, I have a final conference, and I'm preparing for that. But after that, I can be a peer partner to you if you're going to write, so I can look at your text or come with suggestions, or maybe write some part of it.
Oh yes, I'm so sorry, but we are going to write in Italian, because it's yeah, it's faster for us to write in Italian. But as Sonia is mother tongue, maybe she will help us with outlines and
of course,
everything.
of course, I will.
Okay.
I will.
Anyway,
Yes.
I will send to you a research report I have regarding digitalization in the school, because I'm going to write about such a subject, but not in that sense, in another sense. But
not only digitalization, but that distance education, because it's a more particular field.
Yeah. Okay.
And coming back to our project, so what we have to do is just to try to establish a deadline for the digital curriculum, Sonia.
Of course. What do you think? We were talking about 2 weeks, or is it too much, Antonella?
I don't know, because the problem is that our IO2 should be ready before July, I think, because we have to translate it into the partners' languages. We have to plan our C1 activity, and we should be ready for the piloting phase. So I think we don't have much time to finish IO1.
Antonella, can you please repeat the dates? I didn't catch the deadlines.
No, approximately, because I don't have in front of me the Gantt.
Okay.
But I think that if you want to be ready for the piloting phase, we have to finish our IO2 by the summer. I mean, by August. Because we should plan our C1 activity. So for this reason, I think that we should finish this IO1 as soon as possible. Is an indecent proposal to ask you to finish it in 2 weeks?
That's what I said.
I mean, the digital part into 2 weeks, and for the presentation alignment, because Sonia will write the introduction to the IO1. And what we have to do is just to write a comment, 20 lines comment for each learning units, and also this digital transformation. So for the digital transformation, maybe 2 weeks would be enough. Try to consult the digital toolbox, because you wrote it. So please use the tools you put in the digital toolbox. And if you find some new tools, please report them in the digital toolbox, because it's important to have both.
Antonella,
yes.
Sorry, I have another question. So can we use Sonia's example? Is Sonia's example going to be in the site so that we can use it as an example?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, of course. And remember not to modify learning outcomes when you transform it into digitals. Otherwise, we can't compare them.
So we just have to add, like Sonia has done, to add the digital tools to our already developed.
Yes, imagine you are the teachers, and you can use only digital tools in order to do what you have written. So that's the practical, yes, suggestion.
But without that using particular examples, because you said we should keep it general.
Yes, for the tools, yes, for the tools, maybe just the function.
Just the function.
And not maybe the name of the tool. Otherwise, we would condition our teachers.
I was just asking because to understand the working load, the working amount, because we are now in the phase of writing new proposals, and so I have to always think about this until mid-May. But I think this would be feasible to do.
Yes, I know, because we are writing the proposals now, so it's a terrible period. I realize that.
And the 20 lines that we have to write as introduction, should we send them to you or should we upload them on ClickUp?
No, directly in your learning unit. No.
Oh, in the learning unit, and upload it again?
Okay.
Yes, you should write the presentation of your learning unit because you will have in the I.I.S, you will have the presentation, the competence-based, and the digital transformation. So you should have in the same file.
Okay.
Okay, I think that I'm not able now to decide the deadline, but imagine 2 or 3 weeks, not more, because otherwise we will be too late for the rest of the project. In the meanwhile, I will try to develop, to carry on with the collection of tools for IO2s, and I will contact Ali in order to align what we said, and that's it. That's all, I think, for the moment.
Okay.
I will send you the summary of this meeting, so with the all as usual. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, sorry, I have to say, can you please take a look at the dissemination plan that I sent you? And if you have any feedback for us before we finalize it, that would be great. I sent it about 3 weeks ago, I think, or yes. So.
Oh, yes. Sorry about this. I was just telling you that I developed the first newsletter.
Oh, good.
Yes, just 1 second. Just 1 second. Oh my God. It's not COVID. Okay.
Perfect.
This is yes, the first newsletter. I'm developing it, and so I'm showing to you just to know if this kind of layout is okay for you or not. Because if you want, you can use the same.
It's perfect.
Especially Constantina.
Perfect.
Constantina.
Looks
okay.
Great. Yeah.
Okay. So as soon as possible, I will send it to you.
Great. Thank you.
Finished. Okay. Sonia.
Yes, here I am. I was just reflecting. I was just thinking over everything you said. There's a lot of things, you know, to think over. However, yes. So, when are we going to see each other again, Antonella? That's another thing we didn't talk about.
Yes, I hope in presence as soon as possible.
That would be wonderful,
yes.
but I think it's difficult.
No, but I think that we should start to plan our present transnational meeting in Greece by the end of June.
That'll be beautiful. That'll be beautiful.
No, it's planned.
You think it's possible? You think
no,
it's possible?
planned. It's planned,
Okay,
but
so.
I don't know. I think it will be possible.
Okay, hope
because,
so.
we'll have the green pass. So just a test, a COVID test, and I think it would be possible. Don't you agree?
Cross
I mean,
fingers.
the end of July.
It would be great.
Of June.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so
we'll see.
What do you think, Antonella? We can leave each other saying that obviously we got a few weeks for writing what you said, the the digital-based LU. But are we going to meet again? Antonella, what do you think in about 2 or 3 weeks' time?
Yeah, after we did our digital
handed in all the digital ones. Okay, as soon as we got them all, we'll be planning another meeting. So probably in a few, about 3 weeks. Okay. Okay, so I think we can leave each other now in this way, and I hope you have a nice day, remaining of the day. And
are you going to send a doodle?
Yeah, of course we will, but not now. I think, Antonella, we'll be waiting for a few weeks. Okay, after a few weeks, we'll be sending the doodle, and we'll fix up, you know, this appointment. Okay, we'll settle one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to Antonella. She's the one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Comment je fais pour sortir de là, moi?